Today I want to talk about my experience with learning how to paint, how to sculpt, and just doing art in general without an art school or an art degree. I've been to an art school for kind of 3 months, 4 months, but obviously I didn't finish it because at that time I didn't saw any value in it. Obviously, maybe there was a value, but at the time I just didn't saw it. So I didn't finish any art degree or art school. So I will be telling you my experience on how I learned how to draw and paint and do sculpture and textile design and sewing. My first thing that I think is the most important one for you to actually be good at what you do and successful and keep on going is desire/interest. I think desire is the main focal point on anything you do, really. Obviously, there are some times where you have to do things even when you don't have the desire for it, but just the necessity of it will drive you, so that's kind of a desire within itself. Obviously, not exactly the same on what I'm talking about. You want to have that internal desire, that internal interest to actually express yourself, express your creativity. And yeah, you want to have that internal desire and passion to do something and to learn something that you may have never really learned. And even if you are like 60 years old, 70, 80, if you have the desire, you can learn and you will be able to learn and do it on your own pace, on your own time. So there is no time for you to get passionate about it. It's really just, are you passionate about it or are you not? And so as you have the desire figured out, you have interest really to do it and to express yourself in that way, like painting or sculpting or doing clothing design and things like that, then you want to practice. And I think practice is correlated and interconnected with observation and your ability to capturing the essence of something. With my experience, I've noticed that when I'm not creating, I tend to observe a lot. I tend to look at things and just without any judgment, I'm just observing it and looking at things for what they are, seeing the shades, seeing the shapes, seeing all the various textures and colors and how they reflect on each other. And I just capture it, I just look at it and observe it. And just from there, you already can put it into practice, especially when you are doing something out of your imagination. You will get much better the better you learn how to observe things and capture an essence. Obviously, it doesn't have to do with photorealism. It doesn't have to do with if you want to paint, you have to paint things in a realistic way. It's more of how do you see it? What are the instances and correlations that you think are important to you, or you think that could portray a specific message or a specific essence of something, and how could you do it? That's what I mean by observation as well as execution. So practice, go to the basics, go to the more structural and basic stuff for you to actually evolve and create something more complex, and practicing constantly, because I think without continuity, without you executing things in a continuous manner, you will not improve in a pace that you would like to, I believe. I think it is important to constantly practice and constantly do a lot of things, even if you don't think they are cool or they are good. It's better for you to keep observing and creating. So you are constantly observing, creating, and making your process better. You are learning with the way that you draw or the way that you see things, and by observing it as well, you are able to see things from a outside perspective. Another one is a great one, which is just take the feedback from other people. If you have people that like what you do, or if you don't, make sure that you get yourself into some form of group or some form of place where people can comment on the things that you do and on your finished things and your finished painting or sculpture or whatever, and make sure that you take the constructive criticism and you see what certain people see but you don't see. For example, I've noticed that whenever I'm painting or whenever I'm drawing or whatever, if I'm so obsessed with the process, I might spend so much time doing it that I might not notice a big aspect of it that is kind of on the nose, but because I'm working so much on it for such a long time, I might not be noticing it because I've been working on it a long time. So you can take the constructive criticism from others the same way that you can leave it be, come a few days later, a few hours later, and look at it with fresh eyes so that you can see things that you were not able to see when you were so obsessively working on it. So that's another one that I think is important, is to take constructive criticism and just be willing to accept others' perceptions on your work, right? Obviously, what you have to offer is extremely important, is the main thing. So you can take constructive criticism, especially when you are starting and you are learning. You want to take constructive criticism so you can improve on certain things that you think are also important. But obviously, your art is your art. It comes from your heart. So it's something that you should be happy with. And if you are happy with it, doesn't matter what others think, because whatever puts your desire and interest sparking is enough for you to continue working and doing things better and better. So improve on the things that you have going on, improve on your work by taking the constructive criticism, by analyzing, by practicing it, and make sure that you are creating things that you are passionate about. You might come to a point where other people are asking you for a painting, or someone is asking you to do something. There will be times where you don't want to do certain things. Make sure that you are able to see things from a perspective where you are staying true to yourself, and that you don't keep dimming your fire just because somebody is giving you money, right? You don't want to sell out. You want to get money from whatever you're doing, obviously. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have money. Maybe you're just creating because you really want to express yourself. So that's also very good. If somebody's commissioning you, make sure that you are not constantly accepting work that doesn't motivate you, because the passion that you have to create will also be dimmed, and you don't want that. You want to balance, and if somebody's asking you, and if you are doing certain work that may not excite you as much, make sure that you are balancing it out with creating work that is simply for you. It is something that makes you passionate about it, that makes you excited, so that you can improve and create better work. So if you are passionate about it, if you are passionate about creating things, specific things that you do, you will improve no matter what, because if you enjoy it, there's a big chance that somebody will enjoy it as well. So make sure that you are creating work for yourself, because that's ultimately your own self-expression. If you wanted to copy a Mona Lisa or copy somebody else's artwork, why should people buy from you and not the original, right? People want your original work, and the more you express yourself and you enjoy the things that you see after you create it or as you are creating it, there's a big chance that others will like it as well. And another one that I wanted to say is obsession. I think it is important for you to get obsessed with something. The more you practice and the more you observe, and when you are in that cycle, there comes a point where you get obsessed with your work and you wake up and you just want to go work on it. And I think there's a healthy obsession to it. And if you create that routine pattern, that obsession will become something greater. And the more work you produce, the more things you create, the more confidence you create within yourself. So another one that I learned from as well is having someone, obviously this is a very subjective and I'm talking about my own experience, but having someone that is there supporting you and giving you constructive criticism, I said this on the previous topic, which was taking constructive criticism from others, but having someone that is supporting you is also important. Someone that shows their appreciation for what you do and supports you during the times that you might be creating something. But imagine you are creating something and you are so hungry, you don't have time to cook anything, and they are there to cook a meal for you both. And there's this connectivity and communion where somebody is there to support you. Obviously, not everybody will have that, and that's okay. The most important is that you support yourself and encourage yourself in doing something. You might not be liking the times that you are going through. For example, there might be times that you just are not as motivated to create something. But if you keep constantly motivating yourself and giving yourself encouragement, you will have a better time in creating. And sometimes just learn how to create and do things even when you don't feel like it, That's from my experience. There are times where I just didn't really want to create anything, but I forced a little bit myself. It's not like I'm dragging myself, but just a little bit of motivation to actually go for it. And many times it's just what it's needed for you to get out of a specific mood, a specific problem that you might have in your mind, and just go create and enjoy what you do. Sometimes you might not enjoy what you do, but just by doing it, you gain more trust within yourself and you create a better relationship with yourself as well. So in conclusion, in my own experience, I learned that it is important to have desire and interest to do something. It is important to practice and create a routine and pattern in creating stuff, doing stuff for you to learn. So practice and observation go hand in hand. And if you are able to observe, you are able to practice. And if you are able to practice, you are able to observe something. So make sure that you are constantly willing to observe and that you are willing to practice constantly. And take constructive criticism. Be willing to learn from what others tell you about your work. Also, not taking it to heart, because it's truly for your own betterment and your own improvement as an artist. So yeah, I wish this was interesting for you. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to let me know about your own experience, your own perspective, and I hope this was somewhat helpful. This is my experience. For someone else it might be different, but if you are willing to start, I'm sure you are able to and willing to learn and keep that passion and desire burning, because it's important for each and every one of us to express ourselves in our own way, because each and every one of us is very unique and each and every one of us comes from very different backgrounds. So it's important for us to express ourselves in various ways. You don't have to paint, you don't have to sculpt. You can do something completely out of the field of what is called traditional arts. You can mold something out of something that is not made for it, like wet bread, and create a sculpture with it. I don't know, you can go for various mediums. And I also noticed that the more restrictions there are, the better things sometimes come out, because you were able to do something out of nothing. And although you didn't have paint, you had ketchup, and you had, I don't know, your nose bled, and now you can paint with your blood. There are so many ways that you could do it. If you really want it, you can do it. That's my main point. So I wish you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to check out my IG to see my art, and make sure to check out my YouTube. I will also leave it in the link tree. My art's YouTube. I will publish more videos there very soon, so make sure to check it out. I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.